Hello. Welcome if you are new. Welcome back if you have been here before. I am Tanya Rose, a qualified life coach who is certified in leadership. My goal with this channel is to give you tools and share my experiences that are leading me down this life path towards enjoyment, towards designing and living my ideal life. So, by popular demand, I am recording a video today. Popular demand being a handful of people who have asked the question about my 10-day Vipassana retreat. How did it go? What did I get from it? And what was it really like? So if you stumbled upon this video, I hope you find it useful. And if you don't find it useful, thank you for stumbling anyway. So I've got notes because if you know me, I can just talk and go on a tangent and lose myself. First things first, what is Vipassana? So Vipassana is a 10-day meditation camp, I actually want to call it. I know I went away saying this was a 10-day retreat, but it's actually a 10-day meditation camp. And you go to this place, well, I went to a farm in Greece, an area called Markopoulou, in the middle of nowhere, up in the mountains. And you are in silence for 10 days and you're meditating for 10 hours per day. So by the end of it all, you've meditated for 100 hours. You don't have a phone, you don't have books, you don't have notebooks, you don't have any screen time, you can't talk or communicate with anyone. The idea is that you're observing noble silence for the whole 10 days. The only time you can talk is if you have a question for management or the assistant teacher, and there's slots where you can ask those questions. Now, what does the schedule look like? Excuse my setup, by the way. I'm in a new place. Some of you guys know that I have moved to Athens and I'm still setting up my place. So I've got quite an echo up in here, but that's okay. We move because I'm not a perfectionist. And, trying out different backgrounds, and Bonnie the plant here is just growing. Look at the different colored flowers. Anyway, so you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. This is all 10 days, right? You wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. You meditate then for 2 hours, then you have breakfast, then you meditate, then you have lunch and a big break. During this break, some people sleep, some people go for walks, some people might shower or clean their places, whatever it is. You can't talk to anyone. Men and women are separated and you have an area where you can walk around and do all that fun stuff. Then you go back to meditate, and then you have a light dinner. By light dinner, new students are allowed to have 2 pieces of fruit and some tea with milk if you want. Old students just have tea, herbal teas, and all these fun herbs that were written in Greek, so I have no idea what they're called. In English, I did ask, but I don't remember because I didn't recognize it. And then you have a lesson after lunch. You watch a 1 hour, well, you meditate, then you have a 1 hour Discord, which is a lesson, essentially from Goenka, who's the guy who actually designed this 10-day Vipassana camp. Teaches you a lesson all from the teachings of Buddha, actually, so how to find peace from within. And then you go and you meditate, you ask any questions, and you're in bed by 9 p.m. So all 10 days, you're up at 4, meditate for 10 hours with breaks in between, and then you learn a lesson, and then you go to bed at 9 p.m. All 10 days, okay? So why did I choose to do Vipassana? Well, first of all, I like trying out things. Also, if you've ever seen the movie Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts, I want to say, but I could be wrong, me and celebrities. She goes on a retreat somewhere in India or somewhere in Asia, and I just loved that movie because of the peace she found within, the enjoyment she started having, the way she silenced her chatter, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, one day I'm going to do that for a couple of days. Then my friend introduced me to Vipassana, and I was like, ooh, that sounds fun. Let's go check it out. Let's see what can come out of my mind if I'm really still for 10 days and not speaking to anybody. So that's why I went. I also make a lot of decisions based on my gut. So if you've been around for a while, you know that I love listening to my intuition. And my intuition was like, this is what you need, Tanya. Let's do it. So that's why I went. Okay, so let's talk about my experience. Like I said, I have notes so I don't go off tangent. For the first 3 days, you are only observing this area of your face. That's it. Just your nose, top lip. You're observing the sensations. By sensations, it's feeling the breath. Which nostril is it going in? How heavy is it? Is it hot? Is it cold? Do you feel an itch here? Do you feel this? Do you feel that? Just observing. And the theme is equanimity, aka remain equanimous, i.e., be neutral. Whatever feeling you have, if it's an itch, it's just a sensation. It's not itchy. I don't need to itch it. If it's hot, it's just a sensation. If it's cold, it's just a sensation. And you're sitting down for this whole time in ideally the same position. But for the first 3 days, they allow you to move. And boy, did I keep fidgeting. My butt cheeks were burning. Thankfully, I had spinal surgery. So I qualified to have back support. So I had something to lean on. But for all my other fellow meditators who didn't have any medical conditions, you don't have anything to lean on. It's just you and a bunch of pillows and blankets. And during these first 3 days, I really noticed how much my mind does not shut up. And I know we all have it, right? We all have an overactive mind. But it was really interesting to see my mind kept hopping mainly from 3 topics, especially those first 3 days, hopping between 3 topics. One was my financial situation, my business and my job. So I work in marketing. I'm a marketing specialist. Sometimes I do consultation. Sometimes I do marketing management, marketing officer, just anything marketing related, but then sometimes processes and all that. And my contract was coming to an end, and I found this out just before I went to Vipassana, that my contract would come to an end a week after I came out. So I kept thinking, what am I going to do for money? What am I going to do? I'm no longer, subscribed to the bank of mum, brother, and sister who will pay the bills if I haven't paid my bills. If I don't have a job for a long time, I'm very grateful that I had family who would support me and pay for me. Now I live in Athens and I have a 1-year tenancy. I have a contract. Like, I'm adulting, guys. It's been so long since I adulted. And I'm adulting, but I don't have a job. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to make that money? And then I was thinking about my business and how my website is not sorting itself out. And I'm thinking, how am I going to be able to make sales if I can't fix my website? Thinking about the money. Then I would move to my family. Is my mom okay? Is my granddad okay? Are my siblings okay? My uncle, just anyone within my family, I hope they're okay. Oh, do they have my emergency details? Do they know how to contact me, how to find me? Are they safe? Is everything okay? Consistently, right? Consistently the same sort of stories, just in different ways. And then the third thing I was thinking about was boys or a guy, and not just the pressure of, Tanya, hurry up and get married from myself, my family, blah, 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 but also just, I wonder what my husband's going to be like. What's this? Just thinking, daydreaming. So all these 3 things, sometimes it was good things, sometimes it was bad things, but I was literally hopping from money to family to love. Those 3 things consistently for the 3 days, right? And initially when this was happening, I was fighting it so much. I don't know why my camera is going blurry. I'm so sorry. I was fighting it so much. I was like, brain, shut up, brain, shut up, brain, shut up, sensations, brain, shut up. And then I was like, actually, you know what? I've got 10 hours a day to do this. Let me just let my brain do its thing. So if I would start thinking about, say, my sister and her health, my brother and his health, my mom, whatever, I would be like, okay, go on, brain. Think about it for as long as you want. I'll be here when you're ready. And suddenly it's like, I was still thinking about these things, so I wasn't stopping the thoughts, but they were now at the back of my head, and I was able to focus on the meditation and the sensations. So, when you're meditating, you're being guided, and someone says, just imagine little red balloons floating at the back of your head. Just let those thoughts be those red balloons. I never understood it. I was like, how do I just ignore thoughts? But now I realize it's not ignoring, it's observing them and allowing them to become almost like a dull murmur, M-U-R. So that was one thing that I learned, to stop fighting my thoughts and just observe them and allow them to be. And actually, once you allow them, they just stop. Like a child, when they say, just let your child do their thing, they'll get bored and stop sooner rather than later. Whereas if you tell them, no, of course they're going to want to do it, right? I'm an adult with authority. It's like, well, if you tell me I can do this, I'm going to do it. Then my butt cheeks were killing me. They were burning. They were literally burning. I was like, how on earth, only for an hour, and my ass is burning like this? But if you think about it, 10 hours a day, after a while, your butt cheeks are obviously going to burn. My legs would go numb. I've got like my left leg sometimes goes numb anyway because of my surgery. Like I get pins and needles, and I was now getting it all over my body, and I was like, huh? What? And I can't even move, I can't even stand up. So there was frustration and annoyance with that. But then as I carried on focusing on feeling and remaining equanimous, aka neutral, I started looking at these things like, it is what it is. It's just a sensation going through my legs. Then on day 4, you actually start the Vipassana technique, which is a way of you're sort of observing your body, the sensations. I'm paraphrasing here, so please Google it and learn properly if you want to or want to know more. But you're observing the sensations right from your head down to your nose, to your mouth, to your this thing, your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, down, 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 and then up, down, 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 and then up consistently, right? Just at a slow pace. You can take, he says, the first few times, you can take 10 minutes going down, 10 minutes going up. So it's just slowly and just observing sensations, whatever sensations, whether it's a good feeling or a not so good feeling, right? And by this point, my mind is so much quieter, although I had a headache. My brain was hurting, I believe, from really pushing it so much, like really, really pushing. You get a lesson in resilience, I would say, like just consistently going. It's a muscle, right? Like when you go to the gym and your whole body starts to hurt. I felt like my head was hurting because of all this concentrating on sensation, nostril, upper lip, which it looks like mine has disappeared right now. Sensation, that's kind of how I felt, like my brain was struggling. So then I had a headache, and then day 4, when we started doing this up down, I started feeling dizzy, as in DIZZY, all in caps. I was so dizzy. At one point I was walking down to go to dinner, and I sort of stopped, and one of the girls I'd met on the first day, because in the first evening you have a couple of hours to talk and get to know the people that you are going to be living with, which is a really good suggestion, by the way. If you ever go to Vipassana, that moment when you're to socialize, really socialize and get to know the people so you feel comfortable living with these strangers in silence. Anyway, she whispered to me, she was like, oh, you're having a good time, you're dancing. I was like, no, I'm just dizzy. So it was like I had motion sickness, but really intense motion sickness, right? And I remember the teacher saying on day 1 that Vipassana camp is kind of like surgery for your mind and body. So I hear, because I've never done it, but when a doctor cuts into you in order to surgerize you, in order to do what they need to do, surgerize is not even a word. They cut you open and blood goes, and then they clean it up and pus comes out, and then they take out whatever is broken and fix it up. It's gonna go before it then looks good. So I was like, okay, this lightheadedness, this headache, this dizziness, it's all part of the, I'm just gonna let it happen. And then my period came on day 4, and I started having sugar cravings, and I was like, oh my gosh, I need sugar, I need cookies, I need biscuits, I need chocolate. And by some miracle, on day 5, I manifested dessert. So they started baking cookies for us. Day 6, they bought us cake. Day 7, we started having dessert every single day. And someone really special was dropping a sweet on my chair every day. Like one of those lozenge-style sweets that clear up your throat and your nostril. So I truly believe that I manifested sugar when I wanted the sugar, which was such a nice treat. It definitely helped with the cravings. And then also the assistant teacher is available every day for you to ask questions. You can book a one-on-one appointment, or you can ask questions in the evening at the end before bed. So I would have one-on-one appointments with him every second day, just to check in with whatever I was feeling. For example, I wasn't sleeping. At one point, I think I was sleeping for like 2 or 3 hours, and I would be wide awake. And what we learned is that he was like, oh no, you will learn about that tomorrow. Every time I asked a question, it was like I was a day ahead. I felt like an overachiever, I'm not going to lie to you. You sleep for two reasons. One, to rest your body, which I was horizontal for most of it. Even during the breaks, I would normally just lay down, and so would my roommate, which is why we were just the perfect roommates. And so, one, you sleep to rest your body, and two, you sleep to rest your mind. But meditation also rests your mind because you're quietening your mind. So, yeah, I was overachieving in that aspect. Another thing that happened is my dreams. My God, my dreams became so vivid. It's like I was having vivid dreams, and then I knew I was dreaming. This is going to sound crazy, I know, to some people. My brother's probably rolling his eyes or saying, oh, cool. Anyway, or my sister, or my mother, or you. I could tell I was dreaming. So I wouldn't say it's lucid dreaming per se, but I could tell I was dreaming. And if it got too scary or annoying, at one point I was just running away out the dream, like I was with my family, and then we were trying to get into my house. We opened the wrong house, and then I got scared that, oh, this person's going to chase us. Let's run away. And I tried to protect my family from nothing. There was no danger, or at least no physical danger. And I could tell I was dreaming, and I was getting scared because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I just made myself wake up. And the teacher was like, you'll get to a point where, or he gets to a point where he can wake up from his dream, go use the urination room, aka pee, go back to sleep and carry on the dream from the same place. I was like, what? That's amazing. I didn't get to that, but that's still really cool. He's probably done hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of hours of Vipassana and just the meditation. He's very zen, very zen. But I feel like some of us are not made to be completely, totally, utterly zen. Y'all think I'm zen, my family thinks I'm crazy. I think that's a nice balance. Okay, so in summary, this video was just a quick recap of my experience, mainly for the handful of people who asked. But if you do have any other questions, please, 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 you know me, drop me a DM or drop it in the comments. And if I need to record a part 2, I will, or I'll just respond to you privately. So in summary, my brain is trainable, and so is yours. Like, our brains are completely, they're muscles, they're trainable. That was a reminder I learned. So these are some of the lessons the realizations that I took from it. My brain is trainable. My mind will never, STFU, my mind will literally never shut up, okay? Even if you try to quieten it, it will never be quiet. It will just carry on, but at the back. It's what you choose to focus on. So if you change the thoughts you focus on, then those annoying, e.g. imposter syndrome and all that jazz is still happening, but you're now focusing on, I'm the shit, I'm the baddest, I got this, all those good feelings. The third one that came through for me, I had so many memories from my youth just pop up randomly. Like, I would be meditating and I would have a flash of my mom and dad doing whatever. That sounds wrong. As in my mom doing this, my dad doing that, my brother doing this, my sister doing this, me climbing the chimney, me being chased after wetting the bed, like all that stuff, just random memories. Some which I knew, some which I didn't know. So when I quieten the brain and focus and allow myself to bring up whatever wants to come up, it will come up. Some things were just memories, reminders. Some things were things that needed to be healed or things that I needed to accept. Things that I had forgotten, I had potentially closed off from my mind because I didn't want to remember them. Another thing is I realized what actually mattered. I realized what are the things that matter to me, i.e. those consistent thoughts that keep coming back, right? Not just those 3 sections I mentioned, but things that I would then think about myself or say to myself, e.g. my health or how I want to spend my time, whatever. Like, I really realized some of the things that mattered to me. Fifthly, oh, it's been so long since I YouTubed. It's been so long since I recorded a video like this. Fifthly, I learned to feel my sensations linked to my emotions or feelings. So, say for example, if I get angry, I now know, oh, that starts off with a heat, like a feeling of heat in my chest, like my chest burns up, you know, which some of you might be like, oh yeah, this is obvious, but I wasn't necessarily the most self-aware person. I've had to teach myself to be self-aware, and that's okay. You know, we're all at different stages. Some people are more self-aware than others are. I do appreciate that I've been speaking really quickly, so hopefully if you wanted to, you've slowed down this video, and if you haven't, you've just listened, so thank you for, you know, bearing with the speed. So for example, my chest will burn, and so I'll feel that feeling now and be like, ooh, I'm about to be angry. Or let's say my leg will shake. Ooh, I'm about to be anxious, or whatever it is. Even before it shakes, you know, I'll sort of feel a sensation. It's very hard to describe within a very short 25-minute video, so I won't go through it. But I can now sense when I'm about to feel certain emotions before they come. You know, sometimes we know that, okay, if you piss me off, like these are my triggers. Sometimes we don't know. You know, let's say, oh, I can't even think, but something might trigger an emotion, and before that emotion comes, I can now feel it within my body. So I'm more aware of my body. However, so it's a plus and a minus, because I now feel even more of everything. So when I'm cold, like now, I've got my hot water bottle. When I'm cold, I'm freezing cold. Like I'm actually cold, and it's more cold than I think I probably should be. Like I feel it more, like I feel my fingers are cold and blah, 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 blah. So yeah, your sensations will be heightened. My smell, my sense of smell was already so strong, right? So strong that I could smell a can of Red Bull from 2 meters away sometimes. Now it's even more intense. Imagine how I feel when I'm doing a number 2. I know that's not ladylike, but you know, just trying to say, I just have really strong sensations now, and it's sometimes annoying. And lastly, I have not kept up. So I have not kept up with the recommendation of meditating for an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. I do on occasion. I can get to 50 something minutes, maybe sometimes 45 minutes in the evening when I'm laying down, or in the morning, but I haven't really kept it that well, if I'm completely honest. But I have picked up the techniques, and even if I meditate for 10 minutes, I do definitely implement some Vipassana meditation. And, you know, I just, as I say to you with everything else, I just have grace with myself. So I allow myself to meditate for as long as I feel like. And when I don't feel like it, I'm not hard on myself, because I've still done a little bit. You know, even 2 minutes of mindfulness is a game changer. And I think the bigger lessons that I mentioned and others that I wrote down, which I won't necessarily mention right now, are worth the 10-day retreat. So if you are considering it, I hope this has helped you decide. And if you are just having a nose about my experience, I hope you enjoyed it. All right, folks, please subscribe. Let me know what you want to hear, as always, and juices.